Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Grab a cold one, crank up the volume, and join the show. Welcome to NBNR Live. And here we go.
It's no block, no rock.
There we go.
A little more delayed.
Yeah.
It's okay. Mike's got it.
We're figuring it out.
We got all faith in Mike over there.
I wouldn't.
He looks very confused right now. That's why we got to do the intro to give him some time to, get all his buttons ready. All right.
Hey, I got here an hour and 15
And it
minutes
still
before
didn't
the
matter.
show to make sure that I had everything set up for this because KB in it is not here today. So
We miss you, KB. Also, Mike, we appreciate you being here to set up.
Yeah.
There's a new camera in here.
we had that last time Kyle was here.
I'm just saying we appreciate your work and effort.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Yeah, geez.
go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 5, episode 220. I keep saying season 5. I don't know why I keep saying that. Episode 220. Coming at you from the NBNR studio. Guys, Nebraska Brewing Company is one of our primary sponsors. I got myself a pickle fight from them.
Oh,
It's like a
You're
summer.
back.
I'm back, baby. I'm back. It's like summer outside right now. It's kind of hot. Pickle fight looks good. Tastes good. Refreshing. Crisp. Good. It's on tap. Yes.
it is.
So go to the brewery. Go to the tap room and get yourself some pickle fight. Connor, what you got?
So Jared mentions that it's hot outside, and I know. So for those that watch the show like live religiously or watch it on YouTube or whatever, you'll notice I'm sitting in a new seat because Mike is behind the producer's table today. I know it's hot outside because I'm sitting closer to Jared and I can smell him. But I am drinking the Pilsner, and I kind of fooled these guys because we needed to refill Pilsner today. But I'm actually the two cans, the one in my hand and the one below me, are the last 2 cans of Pilsner that were available in the brewery. So if you want to drink Pilsner like me, go out to your local retailer, a Hy-Vee, something like that. Buy it now, because I don't know when it's coming back. Get it now.
I mean, luckily you have fantastic beers at the brewery in the tap room. Good Game is one of them that isn't in cans, which is one of my favorites.
And Pilsner will still be on draft.
Okay, so yeah, you can get it at the brewery then.
Yes.
You can go get it on tap at the brewery on 108th and Harrison. I was drinking EOS in honor of Kyle, but since it is nice, it kind of feels almost like baseball weather. I am switching to the Ale Storm, which is brewed specifically for the Omaha Storm Chasers and the affiliate of my favorite baseball team, the Kansas City Royals. So I'm going to crack that right now.
America's
there you
favorite
go.
team, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
They are
It
America's
is?
favorite team.
Yeah, imagine being a Cardinals fan in this room right now.
Couldn't be me.
Come on, man. Don't give my Cardinals crap just because they're mid.
They are mid.
I'd go a step below that.
Yeah.
That brings us to our special guest.
Hey, he's chiming in with his Cardinals hate. I like him already. Grant Hansen. Play-by-play man.
Dude, how do you guys? Okay, like I've been passing the drink like around hand to hand. Like, how do you drink around these arms?
so
You go
I-
over the arm.
keep
Like,
it
what's
in
the-
your. Are you right-handed?
I am right-handed.
Keep it in your offhand, and it just stays away from the boom arm.
So
Okay.
we play
Yeah.
this. We play this
Because like
game.
I'm not drinking on the jump most of the time. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd hope not.
but
right?
this is fun. Generally,
So we play this game just with like our friends and stuff. It's called Bull Moose. And so I've naturally trained myself to drink with my left hand. The game, I don't want to tell you the rules because if I tell you the rules, you have to play it for the rest of your life.
okay,
So
not
it's,
doing that.
it's
Yeah,
quite a
just don't do
commitment.
it.
I don't know if you're married, but it's actually a bigger commitment than being married. But it's one of
Sounds
those
like
things,
it.
you know, you can't drink in your right hand, cold wet hand. I'm not going to tell you the rules totally, but
Hold on.
okay, that's
It's
good.
a
That's
bigger
good. That's enough.
commitment than being married. Is Sarah watching right now?
I'm just saying, like,
not
let
at
me
all.
put it this way. If for some reason, and I'm not talking about myself, I love my wife very much, but,
Relax.
let's just say, the marriage doesn't work out.
Oh.
Oh, geez.
Guess what?
Oh,
you still
this is not-
you're still playing the game.
I was
You're
not
still
expecting to walk into this.
right.
He's
We
got-
need to do-
he's got two
I'm not
kids over
speaking-
there.
Is there-
I have two
Are we,
kids.
is this an intervention?
No, it's
It might
not.
be.
I have two kids and a beautiful wife. I'm not speaking on myself, but I'm just saying if I teach you this game, no matter what happens in your life, whether you have a wife or not, you're playing it forever. So I don't want to do this to you unless you really want to.
Mike's the kind of guy
I
that
don't. Yeah.
Mike's the kind of guy.
yeah, I think we're good.
Mike's the kind of dude. He'll ask a question, but he'll be like, "My friend is wondering."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you just got to let Mike go. He has to vent every once in a while. You know, he's got a very
Plenty to
stressful
vent about
life.
right now.
Yeah,
There is.
a little too much.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, okay. Play-by-play man for the oh my gosh.
Omaha
Supernovas.
Oh my god, the
Jeez.
Supernovas. I was gonna say storm chasers.
didn't
I
wear
had storm
merch.
chasers on the
Yeah.
mind.
That'd be nice.
Oh, that would be
They,
nice.
they both start with S's.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
It's a tongue twister.
Doesn't Connor
Yeah.
doesn't Connor Happer do the Storm Chasers? I don't
No.
know. No.
Nope.
Okay.
That would be. Why do I want to say Jake Eisenberg? But that's not it. But Connor is the. Or is he
Connor
the
does
MC?
Creighton.
He does something with the Storm Chasers, I thought.
I think he's one of the the in arena or not. In
Oh,
arena,
the
but
MC guy.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think Centered's, I think the other one. Anyway,
Anywho, not you.
most
Not
yeah,
you.
not me, and also things that most people don't care about. Generally,
Like what? Bore us, please.
well,
what else do you do? Because you're a versatile kind of guy. I mean, that's volleyball.
I used to write for a while. I wrote for Husker Online throughout college,
Yeah.
sophomore through senior year, which is in May. So I stopped working at Husker Online when Nebraska got whooped by Florida in the Stillwater Regional. That was the end for me.
Okay.
And then
Jack Caglione. He didn't even do that much.
he's
in the
now a
series.
Royal, by the way.
Hey.
Yeah.
And will be probably a Royal sooner than later.
I
One
hope
would
so.
assume.
We won't get to watch him in Omaha very long.
Hearing the way that ball comes off his bat, it's like, oh,
I can't believe he fell to. I'm going to say us. I don't say us very very much.
You
I
bet-
cannot
you're a
believe he
Royals
fell
guy?
to us. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can't believe it. I thought the Rockies would take him.
I mean, he's right now with spring training going on. They are working him in the outfield,
Yeah.
to get him on the roster at some
Yeah.
point this
And
year.
then we can get Frazier, off to pasture
Bye.
somewhere. And
Bye.
Then, yeah.
oh,
No, I mean,
Take it out.
Frazier's had some good moments in the last year, but a lot more bad than good.
Mhm.
So
Old-
just give me Jack, man.
you trying
Yeah.
to old yeller
Yeah.
him or what? Trying
Yes,
to old yeller him?
absolutely.
Effectively, yeah.
Aw.
Yes,
AKA DFA, but
Yeah, same thing.
that's the way to do it.
Okay. Let's talk about it. Here we go. As famed poet T.S. Eliot wrote, "This is the way Nebraska's season ends.
Mm.
Not with a bang, but a whimper." You could argue Iowa beat Nebraska twice, ended their season twice. Back in January and yesterday. Ended their season twice.
That's crazy.
I think that's fair,
I think
right?
that's fair. Yeah.
It's 1,000% true, which is just so sad to hear because I was at the game yesterday.
Mhm.
So
Oof.
I pretty much have told anybody who has asked me about the game yesterday, I say Nebraska men's athletics are dead. Don't talk to me.
There was a plan in place, let's see, 6 weeks ago to take 3 to 4 generations of Hansens to that game. And it fell through, thank God.
Not when you wanted to see.
If my 7-year-old cousin's first Nebraska event was that, I would feel really bad for him.
Oh.
But maybe it would have been good. Maybe it would have been good to be like, all right, get
yeah.
ready for this. 'Cause
Get used
this is
to it.
what it's going to be.
I would say being a Nebrasketball fan is somewhat akin to being like a Jets fan, where like you know what you're gonna get, and you always have this faint glimmer, like maybe this is the time where we get things right. And then it comes back to haunt you in the most spectacular.
There's been
way.
more success for Nebraska basketball than the Jets in the last 10 years.
I
Which
would,
is something.
because at least
or last 15 years, really.
at least Nebrasketball made the dance.
Yeah.
What have the Jets done? They signed Aaron Rodgers. That
They
worked
signed
out
Aaron
great, right?
Rodgers.
Well, now the Steelers
They
might
just,
sign
but
Aaron
they've been an
Rodgers.
embarrassment. And say what you want about this year. I mean, like there's definitely points in the year that were embarrassing. I think the last 6 weeks or last 6 games probably wouldn't qualify as embarrassing. I would just say it's just an unreal stretch of unfortunate events, a series of unfortunate events. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't embarrassing necessarily. I mean, the start to most of those games were embarrassing, and then Nebraska would claw back and they would
Yeah.
battle. Like Their last handful of games were very close. But a lot of that is because they just came out flat, and it didn't need to be that close. They made it that close because of their lack of fire at the beginning of games.
Sure.
Now, yesterday, not embarrassing, but at the same time, it was just like, meh. Like you would have never guessed watching that game that your season is at stake here. Like you would have never guessed. It was so, like I said, it was a whimper. I
don't know if we brought this up in our group chat or maybe if I just saw somebody tweeting from NBNR about it, but Juwan seemed like the only guy.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, Juwan seemed like the only guy who wanted to keep going and have a deeper run of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what was the analogy I made, I think, last week? Where this Nebraska basketball team, it's like driving a stick shift car, right?
Yep.
They always wanted to
Love
start in second gear, and it was slow and it was clunky. And then they found their way and they found that fourth gear, but it was just too late because you've given up so much by not just starting how you need to start.
I mean, but yesterday was different. Yesterday they started high.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to hear a crazy stat? They were 3 for 4 from 3 and then missed 10 in a row.
Yeah.
They missed 10 3-pointers in a row.
It ultimately all comes down to inconsistency.
Yes.
Right? Because they could never get the defense to match the offense in terms of production or energy. Ohio State being a prime example of an instance where, or really that whole week, the week from the 8 days from the Michigan game to the Ohio State game, where they're lights out defensively at home against Michigan. They go on the road to Ohio State, allow 116 points, granted in double overtime. But like that's what it comes down to, is just brutally inconsistent. And, I don't know who you blame. I mean, maybe you can blame that on the coach. Maybe you can, at a certain point, it just snowballs into that, where you just can't get out of that rut mentally.
And I guess if we're looking for excuses, right? Because that's what we do here. We look for excuses as Nebraska fans. That's what we do. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of people like to make excuses for the lack of just overall success for Nebraska men's athletics. I'm not saying you're doing that, Grant. I'm saying I've seen a lot of people
do
on social media. Holy crap.
I hate doing that, by the way.
You would be surprised at how many people just kind of, it's fine. It's okay. The double overtime versus Ohio State. It's taxing. It takes a lot of effort. Bryce had to do a lot. He had to score 43 points.
That might be an understatement.
And then you look at yesterday, doesn't have the greatest offensive day. And Iowa game planned to smother him, and it worked. And Juwan, excellent glue guy, excellent effort. He makes the first couple of threes. It's kind of like a death omen, because once he makes those, he thinks he can keep doing it.
He didn't really though. Like
he went over for.
But you got to remember, in that game though, he continued to get to the rim. Like he was playing his game
specifically to the 3-point shots from Juwan, I believe.
I am
right,
but here's what I'm saying is, like, you're right. He didn't just keep launching. He did it. He did it like a few times.
He did. Yeah, he had his heat check. I was waiting for his heat check. He made 2 in a row.
God, yeah.
And literally hand and face, I was like, here comes his heat check. And he did. And that's fine. What shooter is not going to do that?
Sure.
Right? You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But I will say, Juwan was the only dude that was playing like it was senior day, his last game at PBA, that actually wanted to keep playing basketball.
You're right. And I just for the Juwan thing right now, he scored a lot. He scored a lot yesterday. But here's the thing, is Iowa didn't care. Like, he still scored that many points. He had 21, I think.
I know he's north of 20.
They just didn't get stops.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're Iowa, Juwan, you go and score 21 points. We'll hold Bryce to single digits. How much did Iowa win by? Like 15? Yeah. It wasn't a game. Well, with 10 minutes left, it wasn't a game.
And Ohio State proved you can still win, even if both of Nebraska's big two go off, you can still win.
Yeah.
Like if you come down, if looking back on this whole year, far and away the biggest what if is what if Rick Mass is healthy and on this team, because his ability as a passer, he's a phenomenal passer as a big, and they ran their entire offense through him a year ago. Mm-hmm. So imagine Decision cutting off Mast, just like Casey did, even though cutting wasn't necessarily Connor's strength as much as it was Casey's, because that was, I think, far and away what made Casey so good his senior year was adding that element to his game.
Mhm.
I think I don't know if it was you guys who tweeted it or there was some advanced metric that someone had tweeted it out that basically just measured production. And Burke and Mia combined were less productive for the whole season on a per game basis than Josiah Alec last year.
Don't
believe
knock
that's
on
what I
that
saw.
on our guy Josiah. Josiah came on our show.
We're not knocking him.
he's
By the way,
complimenting.
Yeah.
But by
He's
the way,
complimenting.
I had a lot of people in my friend group at the end of the year last year, and people I know, they were like, "Yep, thank God Josiah's gone." And I
That's
was like,
crazy.
Really?
That guy's a grinder.
You want to talk about a motor? Like everybody talks about Sam
You're
being the
making- I
motor,
mean,
the
preaching
pest.
to the choir.
Right. Like Josiah was that guy. Like
So
he
they missed
always
him.
did.
They missed him.
Yes.
Big way. And they missed Rink a lot because Rink's a better shooter than Burke, and he's a better passer.
He's better at everything
Uh,
besides rebounding, maybe.
So, I mean, you think about that and what he would have brought to this team this year and how things maybe were different in terms of senior leadership too and all those things that I think he could provide to some extent on the bench, but not nearly as much if he's on the floor.
Yeah.
That's the biggest question mark. I think that if you change one thing and make this entire year totally different, it's that.
Well, you're comparing rank with Burke, but I thought didn't they bring in Morgan to kind of
And
like,
Morgan was
take
really
over
good
for-
too.
But yeah, but like you
And he
said,
filled a
couldn't
similar
do-
role, but he was not as nearly as good.
He couldn't do anything that rank could space the floor out for you
Couldn't at
because
all.
he could make 6 threes in a game if you needed him
Right.
to.
So I mean, you give it
Morgan
to
couldn't-
him at the top of the key. He pivots around to face the basket. He can shoot. There were the rare instances like the games against Wisconsin that he was able to dribble a little bit and hit a step back three. He can pass out of there. You can have people cut off him at the top of the key, and he can drive too and hit hook shots and all those kind of European sort of post moves that he's got to him. They really missed that. They really did. And say what you want about Burkhead, maybe he's not playing 100% the rest of the way, but I mean, there was a lot of weight put on his shoulders kind of at the beginning of the year, and you try to recreate rank in the aggregate, and that was impossible.
Can I very quickly make myself the most hated man in this room?
Oh boy.
You already are.
Yeah, that's fair.
You don't need to do anything
I walked
else.
in and I was already there. I do want to give a little bit of respect to the Hawkeye roster.
Oh, you're talking about the
Juwan's
hugs.
send off.
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat. I mean, that is I very, very rarely compliment anything Iowa, but I thought that was really cool. And I think Juwan deserved that, especially with the performance he had yesterday. I thought it was deserved.
So like one weird thing about that, and I honestly looked it up. So Juwan in that number 2 for Iowa, like they were kind of they were kind of like dapping it up throughout the game, like at the breaks, at the timeouts. And so I was like wondering, like, do they have some sort of pass? Have they ever crossed paths and playing together or anything like that? And no, not at all. So like I think it really was just like sportsmanship type stuff. So hey, tip your cap. Fuck Iowa, but it was cool.
Right. He's a dog. I mean, he commands that level of respect.
I agree.
I mean, how often do we talk about like we hate programs, we don't hate players? Like the player's individual effort.
That's tough.
I have nothing against. It's very hard to make me hate a player.
I mean,
I disagree.
I'd say that about Iowa in this case, not Iowa football.
Iowa football, absolutely not.
but like,
I mean, we can go down the list.
what Iowa players have really like earned your hatred? I mean, like
Iowa kickers and punters.
Iowa kickers and punters.
they don't earn my
what-
hatred
what
though.
is
They're just
the-
good at their job.
Drew
Who's
Stevens-
the forward?
Drew
Who's-
Stevens running around Memorial Stadium.
Yeah,
blowing
blowing kisses.
So
yeah.
we're talking about off the field antics. Sure, I was talking specifically.
Well, I mean,
like,
that was
was
literally
on the field. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
literally on the
No,
field.
I know what you're, but like, yeah,
Hey, you succeeded. You were right though. You did make yourself the most hated.
You
yeah.
did.
No, I'm very good at that.
He's very good at that. There's also the guy that didn't get teed up 2 games in a row where we're allowed to. I mean, I've seen players get
Oh,
teed
my
up for
God.
just turning back and looking at somebody, literally getting down in their face again. 2 games in a row that's happened. And I know that we're talking about the Iowa game. The Ohio State game is gone.
It is.
We didn't get to talk about that from the last time we had a recording. But I'm just telling you right now, what in the absolute fuck is wrong with Big Ten officiating? Like, can we just not be consistent on what we're doing here? Like, we missed 2 technicals in the Ohio State game.
Hoiberg gets his phone call from the Big Ten officiating guy.
Sorry.
Well, no, they even said you have a case. Apparently,
What's
you
the
have
case?
a case.
Nothing.
And I will get on a soapbox about this, and I'll try not to be super long about it. I'm tired of hearing about these fucking phone calls. I'm tired of it.
Or letters.
Yeah. Because what does it do? Is it going to change the result of the game?
No.
It's not just Nebraska fans that are in that. I mean, that's everybody.
Yeah,
It's everybody.
Exactly.
Like the officiating as a whole. I'm obviously I'm biased. I'm going to advocate for Nebraska, but like officiating as a whole, it needs to be better, and there needs to be repercussions when they miss things. Like,
yes.
Like that particular officiating crew for Ohio State, like they're notorious for being bad.
You don't like Kelly Pfeiffer?
Fuck no.
Kelly. So that's the thing, though. Kelly isn't even. I mean, I don't even think Kelly's the worst.
No,
He's
got
just
high knees and
High
everybody
knees
else.
is the worst.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Anderson's the worst. Interesting. I don't remember how many games did Kip. I mean, this is so stupid. Why are we even talking about this a little bit? But Kip Kissinger. How many Kip games did Nebraska get? Probably not many, right? Because he's from Ashland, but he's pretty good. I mean, Kip Kissinger is somebody that I think generally does a very good job. And then John Higgins is also not a Nebraska guy who's in the referee circuit anymore because he's retired from a couple of years ago. Both those guys, I thought, generally do very good jobs. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, there were too many times, especially down the stretch, where people were like, really, guys? Like, you missed that call? Especially when everybody in the arena can see it. That's the other one, like the inbound at the end of the Ohio State game. I mean, I don't even know how you miss that call, especially when you have an official that's standing right near the inbound.
Right there. And Fred is literally telling you, like, he's walking you can't walk the line. I just don't understand it.
Nobody does.
Is what it is.
Do you want to hear?
You don't get it.
Can you explain to me why can we slow down a potential incidental hand contact to the face type thing? We can slow that down in super slow motion, right?
Yeah.
But we can't review when obvious things happen, like, traveling on an inbound or taunting a player after you go do something stupid. Right. Like, why are we able to slow things down when somebody accidentally gets hit in the face, but we, for some reason, can't slow things down when things actually matter in a game?
Right. Things that literally everybody in the arena and on TV can see, except apparently the people that are in charge of administering the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think
it's a tale as old as time, but
I know, and this is such a lenient suggestion because I think it's impossible to really get it done. A 3-strike rule where, if you have 3 of these calls where we have to have letters or phone calls and it comes down to one official, I'm not saying fire the guy, but he needs some sort of probationary measure where it's like, dude, these are things that, again, everyone can see on TV, if they're in the arena, whatever. How are you not calling these correctly? Like you, Mike, said, there needs to be some sort of consequence.
There's nothing.
Because when we get
they're like weathermen. They can be wrong. It doesn't matter.
When we get these letters or phone calls, what does it do? Is it changing the score? Is it changing the win-loss column?
Makes me pissed off.
It just pisses me off more. I would rather have the NCAA throw me a middle finger and say, yeah, we did it right, than to hear them after the fact be like, nah, we were wrong, but also eat that out. That's worse.
Here's the thing, right? We are hurting for competent refs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the thing, though, guys. If you start having these press conferences with refs after games, whether it's football or basketball, or you suspend them without pay, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to get better refs that way. It's just the fact.
I agree.
If I'm
everybody's in a tough spot.
If I'm a ref, I'm curious. I don't know how much they make per year, monetary wise. I don't know if you're privy to that information.
I'm not.
But it's just one of those things where if I'm a prospective ref and I see these refs getting these tough questions after games and they're getting roasted. I mean, they're already getting roasted, but I'm just saying you're not going to attract better refs by doing that. So listen, you're stuck with shit.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Play better, right?
Play better. Try not to put it in their hands. That's the best you can.
Right.
That's the best I can ask for.
You just have to you have to be good enough as a team and a roster that it doesn't come down to that sort of stuff. Which it will inevitably, because it's just sports, and that's how. That's why we love all this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to be good enough that 9 times out of 10, it's not coming down to that.
But the margin
Which they
for
weren't
error
this year, by the way.
This team, the margin for error because the lack of talent is this small.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
those little things, they add up for a team like this Nebraska team because their margin for error is this small.
Okay, now, Mike, excellent point. Excellent point. My counter to that is get better talent. There.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I agree.
I think everybody agrees to that.
Go on.
So 2 points. One for posterity. I looked up the Big Ten referee salary for basketball is between $1,000 and $3,000 per game. But to Mike's point, this is not a team where you can get to a point where it gets left, or like even a question whether it's down to the officiating. Like it's not something you can do. We've talked about it, or at least I've talked about it for weeks, which we'll get to that.
Oh boy.
That I didn't think this was a Fred Hoiberg issue. I just didn't think the talent was there this year. I got a lot of shit for that. Turns out,
No, they don't have good talent at all.
Coming down, like if we're in a game where we have to start criticizing the officiating, we fucked up. I mean, that's just what it was.
I mean, but basketball, I mean, you look at all these Big Ten games across the country, not just Nebraska. Like these games are decided by one possession.
It's not even a Big Ten problem. Like it's just there's an officiating problem in college basketball generally, and no one really knows how to fix it. And that's just kind of the end of the story.
Like it is what it is,
which is kind of sad, but it is what it is.
I do just want to bring something up. I don't know if you guys noticed the past couple of weeks, you've been seeing these posts about Connor Season and Keisei Tominaga. Like people comparing the two and people saying, Connor Season has only made 9 less threes and he shot even less. So it's actually not.
Yeah.
They're actually not that far apart, guys. So what are you complaining about?
I think I sent that in our NBNR chat.
Yeah. They are much farther apart than people think.
I need people to shut the fuck up about that.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're looking at 3-pointers. Grant, you even said yourself, Keisei was so much more versatile in the way that he could score. Defensively, they're a wash. They both fucking suck at defense, okay?
Maybe a slight nod to Connor.
Maybe.
Not that much.
Rebound. I would say rebounding. Connor is a much better rebounder than Keisei ever was.
Now, it's your season finale. Your season's on the line.
Are you gonna bust out stats? You're gonna. Are you gonna?
Why would
You're gonna.
It's not hard.
You're gonna go 0 for 11. You're gonna go 0 for 8 from 3. The only reason why you're here, shut the fuck up about the two. Quit comparing the two. Stop. That's why you brought him in. I just had to get that off my chest.
Before the season started, did I not talk about when Connor Season transferred? I said,
You said it.
This is a streakier version of Keisei. It is not a positive. I think Connor Seaton's addition was a positive for the roster that we had, but when you compare the two, it leans towards Keisei. I didn't even think it was that close.
Well, yeah, because he won the 3-point shooting. I mean,
everything.
It's a tough act for him to follow.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah, it's, and people maybe in the chat, I don't know, are saying, yeah, but Connor shot like 40% from 3 for a lot of the year. When I need you, where are you? When I need you the most, where are you? Every time. Name one big shot.
I mean, he hit several against Ohio State to help them get to overtime even to begin with. Like, they don't get to overtime against Ohio State without him.
Fair. Still now I would counter that with fucking lost.
They did, but
and
they didn't put the ball in his hands. And we can talk about that too, because like I hate taking the air out of the ball in basketball. Just play, right? Like you get up 5 with Bryce, and I understand you want a wine clock, but
just play.
Like I don't want, even with 2:30 to go in overtime, I don't want to dribble the shot clock down to 10 and then just have Bryce drive and hope to get fouled. Like run an actual offense, because that's where you get into trouble. That's where you get out of rhythm offensively. That trickles over to the defensive side of the floor. You know, you take a 5-0 lead, you want to still run your offense, go for the throat and get the win, right? Instead of just putting it on a guy who scored 35 plus points at that point in time and has God knows how many minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but Juwan barely touched the ball in overtime 1. Anesthesian, same thing. And it wasn't really either of their faults, because the offense was pick and roll 4 low and everybody stand in the corner and see what happens with Bryce.
I'm emotional.
You are.
If you're up 5 though, like if you are not in a position to get last look or give them like, I run it down and then they've got last look and I'm still up 5. Run the offense. You know what's better than being up 5? Being up 7. Run that offense.
Taking the air out of the ball is almost always a horrible idea. In my granted, not a head coach, but in my experience, things do not go well for teams that do that.
Because when you do that, you are changing your mindset of your team. You're turning them into passive players instead of not
kill
active.
us.
Aggressive.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Offensive.
You turn it from passive, from killers to passive. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And look, I'm saying the next thing I'm going to say is in jest. Okay, I'm kind of joking, but I'm also kind of not. But he posts the Bible verse after the game, and you have people going, "This is all that matters," and I go, "No, it's not. You know what matters? Winning." I'm saying that in jest. I'm saying that in jest.
I know.
I'm joking, kind of, but just fucking win. Mike, you wanted to say something.
I do want to put a bow on, since Nebraska ball's dead. I mean, they're dead.
Season's over.
The season's over, but we do have a good question in the chat. We'll go around the room. First off, BA said, "Hey, ask Mike if Nebraska is making the tournament."
Shut up, BA.
Eat shit, BA.
Shit.
But we will go to the other Dave. The other Dave said, "Should we decline postseason play so we can focus on the portal?"
God,
Not much to be gained with this team as is.
He has a point.
No.
And Connor screaming no. We'll start with Connor.
I think this is just the easiest. It's just a no. They're going to get a high NIT seed. Go play it. Go play it. I mean, what are you going to gain right now in these next, couple of weeks? Go play the NIT.
Yes.
It's like declining a bowl game. I don't know. I think it was like a former head coach, Scott.
No. That's his name.
Yeah. You do not decline the postseason.
You know who?
I don't
former head coach
care.
Scott.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't care if you feel like it's, beneath us. I don't know how to say this. If you're a Nebraska ball fan, nothing is beneath you.
Thank you. I'm going to get there.
Okay.
We'll go over here. Should they decline an NIT invitation?
Here's what I'll say. You get an invite, you're playing the fucking game. Shut up, you're playing. Okay? I don't care if because like you said, there were some football players in that locker room that did not want to play that bowl game. And Frost capitulated. Capitulated to those guys. Now, I'm sure there might be some guys in the basketball locker room that might just want to end it because the way that it ended was shitty, and it's just like, But yes, you're playing. Now, whatever they do, I'm not going to care whether it's a first-round exit or they win the whole thing.
I'm going to watch every game, though.
Sure.
Yep.
But there's literally nothing you can glean from this. Whole different roster next year. It's a wash.
Pretty much, yeah.
So play, sure, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, hell no. You definitely play.
Yeah.
I mean, the end of that individual's tenure at Nebraska was declining that bowl game.
Yeah,
100%. Like that was the last kind of piece where you knew things were going south. Because I think right after that was the whole declining the Oklahoma series scandal, I believe, right? That was the following.
Yep.
Yeah, and like that was just so. No, you could play that. Not to say the same thing will happen here, but you get the invite to the postseason, you take the invite to the postseason.
absolutely. Well, and you think about if you want to compare the two, which we really shouldn't, but we'll do it
Yeah,
just for
apples
fun.
and
Just
rocks.
do it, right? We'll compare them. We have, before this football season, we were known as the only power team to not make a bowl game in 7-8 years, whatever it was, right?
8 years.
This basketball team is the worst Power 5 basketball program of all time. All of you Nebraska basketball fans are freaking sickos. Congratulations to you. And yes, they should accept the NIT because we hang banners in PBA for NIT appearances.
NIT, baby!
So let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You're going to add another banner that says NIT appearances, and you're going to have 2025 on there. So you have no right as a Nebraska basketball fan to say, oh, decline the NIT. Guess what? This is a poverty basketball program. You take what you can get.
Can I take this one step further?
Please do.
I want to try a social experiment here for anybody that's watching. Let's say, God willing, they win the NIT. You do a ring ceremony? I do.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You double down. You double down for sure.
Again, we are Nebrasketball fans. There is nothing beneath you.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. Because guess
You
what?
in the NIT.
Guess
you
what?
do a ring ceremony.
Because UNO's not even beneath you. They made the freaking tournament.
Okay, so that's actually I've seen a lot of this about how UNO's above Nebraska now. They made the tournament first time ever. First of all, I want to congratulate the Mavericks for making their first
I agree.
appearance in March ever.
100%.
Congratulations. Phenomenal team. Very happy for them. I do want to point out they haven't won a game yet. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, dude, they're gonna play a really.
They're
good
going to play a 1 seed.
So-
They're going to.
Okay, I'm sorry, but so
Probably,
has Nebraska historically played like 14 seeds? No.
No,
Nebraska comes in as like an 11 or a 10.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah, it's still
I wish we could play it. I wish we'd come in at like a 14 or maybe like a 13 seed or something.
a 1.
Right.
I wish they would come in
was a
anything in
1.
the single digits. All I'm saying is UNO absolutely deserves that bid to March.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for
yes,
them.
They won
But
their
yeah.
conference.
To say like, oh, UNO surpassed Nebraska, not yet. Not yet.
No,
They've
It's-
also not been D1 quite as long, so
it's just
there's some, weight to that, but
for coming from a UNO alum such as myself, it's just a cute little talking point that people have
I'm
to
happy.
try to fucking make us mad as Nebraska ball fans. And for some people, it works. To me, it doesn't. But I don't know if it's making you mad. The whole UNO, go Mavs.
Who cares?
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to call them UNO. By the way, they get really mad about that.
They get mad if you call
Really?
them UNO.
That's news to me.
That's
They just like
insulting.
to be called Omaha.
Omaha.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, okay. They're not firing Fred. They're not going to do it. Here's what
Definitely
I'll
not.
ask. Here's what I got. Here's my demands. Troy Dana needs to say something. He needs to make it clear what the fucking goals are for this
Standard.
program. Okay.
There's no standard.
Also true.
No,
Give
I-
me and
What's the commitment?
that's the thing is a lot of people are content with what they saw this year because there just is no stated benchmark. There's no goals. They've just mired in mediocrity for 100 years, and people are okay with it. Like Dylan Raiola needs to be a field general this year. Fred Hoiberg needs to get himself a court general. Get yourself a point guard.
Yeah, they've never had one.
Never. Get yourself a sniper too.
Ooh.
A legitimate sniper that will make
you just-
threes.
You just need
A
someone
lot.
to pair with the season, right? Like you lose the Wilcher piece. Also, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
He's playing decently well at Texas A&M right now, but
He's doing fine.
he would have been nice to have.
It would have been ideal.
And so, yeah, you need that. But the point guard for sure. Because Sam Griesel, of the point guards they've had the last 3 years, he's probably the best, I think. If you really, as an offense, as a scoring threat, also he's not really a point guard.
Right. That's the thing.
Well,
Like he was playing point guard.
like, who's the
Delano
facilitator?
Banton, baby.
No.
Still in the
Oh, my
league.
God.
Crazy.
That's the other thing that bothers me so much about the Fire Fred discourse too. And it's just like people who use his entire body of work, like all 6 years, as a reason to justify moving on after this year. It's ridiculous. It's not the same team. It's not the same coaching staff. And he's also not the same head coach.
Right.
Nothing about what this program is right now is comparable to what it was when Bryce McGowan's was here.
No.
Like it's just you can't I think it's unfair to combine the two or even compare the two. So yeah, like there's no standard, but the reason that I feel like whatever, they didn't make the tournament. That's disappointing. It sucks. We'll run it back next year.
Remember, Big
It's
Ten
because
tournament.
they won 7 games, like 4 years ago? It was horrible.
Right.
And this was not objectively horrible this year. You just got to find a way to capitalize on the fan interest. Being top 25 nationally,
13.
top 15 then.
Yep.
Nationally in attendance. Okay, there's got to be somebody somewhere who's willing to back up the dump truck of money to get the people that you need to get into the building to be successful.
See,
Yeah,
Grant,
that's the
and
step.
I think that's what Jared's referring to with Dannon
Right.
is he's going to come out and like just lay it out for the players, the coaching staff, the fans, prospective recruits. What is the commitment to this program? Is it something that we're being serious about or not?
See,
Like that has to happen.
You just need a Matt Davison level fundraiser, basically.
maybe, but
Go chase money.
mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. You guys are saying, the Troy Dana needs to approach Fred type thing. No, Fred needs to approach Troy Dana in 1890 and say, open your checkbooks.
Maybe, yeah.
Because people tend to forget about this. And we talked about this last week, but it's not like Fred hasn't tried to recruit way better players to come to Nebraska.
I mean, he's doing well in recruiting.
They've
generally.
swung and missed on all the guys that actually wanted to come here, like Hunter Salas's of the world, the Chucky Hepburns, the St. Thomas. Those guys would have came here if we opened the checkbooks up, right? You can't go offer a top commit or top recruits with a freaking minor league salary. Like it's not going to work.
It's also interesting to see how rev share changes all this stuff too. Like, what's the person Nebraska's working with for basketball going forward? Once that actually comes into play.
I mean, 1890 is still going to be
everybody else too, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does that compare to the SEC, Big 12? Do teams differ their revenue sharing? Do they distribute that differently from conference to conference? Do some conferences spend more on football or basketball? Right.
Oh yeah.
Like undoubtedly that's going to happen, but what's that distribution? So like that variable to this too is going to be interesting, whether that's this year that officially is a thing or not.
What's in line? Hey, let me ask you, Grant. Like we talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in line first? Okay, you've got $20 million in rev share a year to share between all the sports. What's your lineup? Who's getting what and how much?
Are you talking about the Big Ten or Nebraska?
Nebraska. So
Nebraska specifically?
Nebraska specifically on the rev share is going to get $20 million dispersed between their teams.
Understood.
Right.
I just didn't know if this was like
that doesn't include NIL from 1890. Just giving you a heads up.
So that's 10 to football, probably 5 to men's hoops. What? How many teams can I pick here?
All of them. Any of them.
Okay.
Volleyball.
2 to volleyball, 2 to women's basketball, 1 to baseball. 1 to baseball probably isn't even enough, really, because that's like a single player in the SEC. But
okay, I mean, a lot of people they might put even volleyball ahead of basketball right now. But here's the thing,
I probably would.
But here's the thing, Mike.
How do you distribute that though, based off of like
money it brings in?
Right, but also if you're the university, you want to use it strategically. So if you have X amount of backing from the Petes or football, maybe you spend a little less on football. But also if you simultaneously know that your money goes further for football than it does for X other sport, you probably send less money that way. I mean, there's variables that are missing, basically, for us.
Mike?
Yes.
You're saying that Fred needs to go to Troy.
He does.
And Matt Davison, right? Or the Petes.
Well,
whoever, or Warren Buffett. Or the founder of Twitter who grew up in Nebraska. You got to beg him for money, too.
Or our guy, Tyler Kai. I'm just saying, like, Tyler Kai, what's his job? What's he do?
Hey.
What's he always have? What does he always have?
He's the money man. He's got 2 phones.
Hey, TK is doing his job and he's doing it well. I don't tolerate slander.
He got a title bump. I
Good
checked
for
my
him.
mail today. I texted him.
Oh,
Dickhead didn't text me back.
Oh,
just kidding. I love him.
He said that on camera. Dickhead.
I know. I like.
You're live.
I texted him today. I got this letter in the mail from the Athletic Husker Fund. And it was like, hey, make sure you donate your money at the bottom, signed by Tyler Kai. So I texted Tyler and was like, hey, Tyler, quit sending this junk mail to my house. I thought it was kind of funny.
That's funny.
No, but Tyler got an upgrade now. He is a deputy athletic director now.
Deputy, yeah.
I thought
instead of a associate. Yeah, he's not an associate anymore.
Did they just rebrand the position, or is that
no? They're still associate AD. So he got a promo when Troy Dana came back because they have a good relationship.
Shout out our boy TK.
Hey, TK, 2 phones. He's welcome back here anytime.
Mike, can I go back to my point?
Yes.
Go back to your point. Even though TK, he's gonna have to get that money.
Yeah, congrats. That's good. Some of us need a job title change to justify making $10 million more, or whatever he's making. Tyler Kai, high roller. I'm telling you. Mike, Fred Hoiberg doesn't have a choice because Bryce is leaving. Juwan is leaving. His 2 best players on the roster aren't on the roster.
Right.
His 2 best players for next year are nowhere to be found. So what are you going to have to do? What are you going to have to do?
Go buy more.
Mike, come on. What are you going to have to do?
You're going to have to back
Please,
the truck
sir,
up.
may I have some more? Please. You need money. You have to. And here's the thing, too. I don't know if you disagree with this, but he is entering next season, in my opinion, on a somewhat of a hot seat because I feel like you need to make the tournament next year. Not the Big Ten tournament. Couldn't even make that this year. you have to make the NCAA tournament, or I think he's gone. That's 7 years. 7 years, that's a long runway. So beg for money, do what you have to do, because your two best players for next year are nowhere to be found right now. And you have to pay somebody.
You pull the plug if they're objectively bad next year. That's, I mean, if you miss the Big Ten tournament again next year,
he's gone.
Would
Yes.
be bad. I mean, I think you underestimate the fact that he's just not a problem. Like, Fred is not a problem.
No.
He does not go and say stupid shit in media. You know,
Right.
He's measured. He's a great representative of the university.
True.
That goes a long way.
It does. I mean, 7 years is a
winning
long
goes
time.
further, but you know,
How long of a runway do you have to be nice?
So
Mike Riley, nice dude, never said anything controversial.
my question and my point to exactly what you're saying right now is, if you don't make the NCAA tournament next year, he's gone. Prior to last year, when was the last time Nebraska made
2014?
2014.
Okay, again, yeah.
So now you're saying he gets a 1 year off season, and not even, again, it wasn't
1
a great
year
season. It wasn't a great season, but it wasn't, like you said, objectively horrible.
Right, because we've seen 7 wins.
Yeah,
within the last.
we
5
have
years.
seen that. I think if you miss the
And
Big
you've
Ten
cheated.
tournament again, at the beginning of the season, my bar for success was Big Ten tournament appearance. So for me, this is a failure of a season.
Yeah, I mean,
How could you argue against that?
I think you can say it's not a failure, or it is a failure, but it's not bad.
It's a failure because of where they were
It's
at.
just,
It was like football. All they had to do was win 2 games and they're in the NCAA tournament.
You're right.
And they lost 5 in a row. It's literally like Matt
It's
ruled
also
year 1.
inexplicable. It's just inexplicable. Like, you just, you in the span of 8 days, you score 114 points in double overtime and lose, and then also hold the team to less than 50 points and also lose.
That's crazy.
Within 8 days.
How do you hit a total game under of 100? It was 95 points total scored in that game. How do you do that?
They play
And
to the level of their
still-
competition at all times.
It's fucking crazy.
At all times. Justin has some good comments in here that I want to get to.
Let's go.
Justin in the chat said, why should the university want to spend money to go to Vegas? So, and he's looking at the wide range of Fred's tenure at Nebraska. He says, no, that would be 1 year out of 7, not just 1 year of making the NCAA tournament.
I was saying a 1 year gap.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Fred had to hit the reset button already. He doesn't get another one.
Right.
So,
That's
I
the
agree
thing.
with
That's why everybody, like, the consensus Nebraska thought of, how do you fix this, is just pay for more people, because you can't reset the coaching staff. Also, you feel pretty good with the coaching staff.
I like the coaching staff. I just want
Last
better
year's
players.
a great example. Also, they were not as good defensively as they were last year, by the way. I mean, I think you can.
We don't
I
have
think
the
you can feel
athletes.
fairly confident about that.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
They didn't have
this
the
is-
athletes last year either. I mean, Texas A&M clearly.
I agree.
showed that.
I
mean,
agree with
was-
that. But like, if you're talking about like Josiah Alec, he could at least play defense.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, people, this is gonna sound so stupid. People underestimate the value of heart. Like, Alec had heart.
5-star
and
heart.
drive
Yes. He's
and
a big
hustle
Sam Hoiberg.
plays. That's why Sam, like, I think Sam in the starting lineup wasn't the worst thing in the world. I know he gets beat on some plays, and he smokes wide open. We smoked a wide open layup in the first minute against Ohio State, and there's a bunch of different weird things that he did. But I can tell you, those hustle plays that he makes, especially at home, were for team chemistry and
Morale.
were
Yeah.
incredibly valuable.
Well, a couple things, right? For this season, how do I say this without just shitting on somebody? Sam Hoiberg can't be like a consistent.
He can't be a starter.
That's the thing, right? Because
Right.
people are going to scoff at that and go, "What? I mean, he plays good defense." There's a reason why you didn't make the Big Ten tournament, is because he's your starter.
Well, you just
Like,
didn't get
what-
enough. You didn't get enough from you just didn't get enough from everybody besides Bryce Williams and Jordan
Right.
Gary. I mean, that's just
Like, I'm
That's
sorry,
it.
Sam Hoiberg cannot be one of the main guys you're looking to compete at a high level.
and there weren't
shoot.
there
Like,
weren't
I'm
enough
sorry.
facilitators either,
Right.
right? Like, there was not a point guard last year.
There and yeah.
But Rink Mass was a good enough facilitator and a good enough conduit for the entire offense that it worked.
And it's so funny because you could argue the two best point guards that Fred's ever had were fucking centers.
Yeah.
Rank Mass and
Derek
Derek
Walker.
Walker.
Yep.
The two best passers he's ever had.
And then number one or somewhere in there with those two is Sam Griesel, who can also kind of technically be a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an undersized 5, which he was for Nebraska. I think we put a bow on Nebrasketball.
I just
Talk a
want to
little
say,
bit about
I know.
other things.
Just really quick. Here's what worries me is, yes, we have given credit to Fred for becoming defensive minded and Nate Lenzer for being the spearhead of this defensive philosophy. I'm scared that this new defensive philosophy has already been
Figured out.
People have already surpassed it, because the Big Ten, when Hoiberg first came in, a lot of big guys, the Kofi Coburns that were found everywhere. The Big Ten just isn't played that way anymore. I feel like there's a lot more shooters. You saw it with the way that Iowa did. Name one Iowa big man that hurt them, right? There isn't one. I'm afraid that this defense, this identity that they have, it might not work. And it did for 2 seasons and a half, and I feel like they've been surpassed already. Like it's passed them by. That's what I'm worried about.
Sorry, go on.
There's not as many big men as
I think they
there
just
was
weren't
before.
disciplined enough. I mean, that was part of it. They definitely weren't against Iowa. And also, like, in the way that defense is designed, you're going to be giving up open threes, and you have to hope that they miss them.
Right.
And that they miss the majority of their contested threes. And that is not what happened the first time they played Iowa. They
my
made
God.
both. And
Insanity.
several times this year. I mean, even the Ohio State game in overtime, the threes that the Buckeyes hit, there were Huskers draped all over them. Like literally that
Hand in the
close.
face. Yeah.
So
It's true.
some of that's bad luck. But
It is. Yeah. And that's, I don't like having to depend on that.
And do you feel like they created enough turnovers that led to runouts and those sorts of things?
Right.
And I don't know if I necessarily remember a ton of that a year ago as much as I did like during the Bandamel era, if that's what you can call it, 'cause it's a year long. But that's another piece of it too that I don't feel like was there.
So
That's all I want to say about Hoiberg. That's me.
Hey,
Fuck it.
Put a bow
Fuck
on it.
the last one thing
We
before
put
we put a
so
bow on
many
basketball.
bows on it.
I know.
There's like
but
20 bows.
I've earned this, and Jared brought a T-shirt, and I feel like I have earned my apology.
Well, we're gonna have to adjust the fucking camera.
Yeah, Mike's replacing the battery really
Pit crew.
quick.
Is the
Pit
camera
crew.
is the camera on Connor right now?
NASCAR season has arrived.
Okay, here. All right,
Oh, yeah.
hold my
See,
shirt
yeah,
up there, bro.
Okay, so
There we go.
well, Jared, while I hold this up, can you explain to them why I'm holding this shirt?
Well, hey, silly me and silly Mike for like a month ago. We were on the positive side.
Actually, it was actually almost exactly a month ago. I looked up the episode. It was February 4th was when the episode released.
Yeah. So February 4th. It was really weird that me and Mike, we thought this team would be able to scratch out maybe 2 more wins.
And what did you refer to it as? What's on the shirt? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
We were more dead dog alley and you were more dead cat bounce. So yes, Connor, as Coach BA said on Twitter, you are the basketball fuck face, whatever he said.
I believe he said savant.
Oh, savant. Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Because I saw it immediately.
You were right.
You got those couple or after that, what was it, 6-game losing streak? You got those couple, and I was like, I don't know. I think this might be short-lived. And
You were
everyone told me I was wrong. In fact, and Mike, I do love you. But Mike's exact words to me were "eat shit."
Eat shit.
Hey,
Mike
Connor,
told me
eat shit.
Yeah, I was right.
Oh, bro, it's
You
still,
can tell me to eat shit.
Congratulations. You make a statement
Oh, no.
when they're like they have an 87% chance of making the
Jim.
fucking tournament. Get out of here. And like the way they lost, get the it's crazy.
I was
literally
right.
crazy.
I was
Good
right.
job. You were right for the first time
Not
on your
right.
entire
Here we go.
tenure at No Block No Rock.
Oh, no.
You've never been
No.
right. You finally got one.
Hey, who holds the best score guesser guy trophy?
You got 2 guesses.
Oh, we can go down
Damn.
the line here. I think you're.
Hey,
just
like I
upset.
said, these episodes are often the way
Yeah.
for Mike to vent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's always eat
Hey,
shit.
guys. Hey guys, guess what?
What?
We're having a spring game.
Spring games.
Spring
not really.
games.
Okay. We also
Let's talk about
we
that.
called
So you
this
guys
right.
like the spring game? I mean, this is where this is heading. You guys like the spring game?
Well, no, but it's an excuse to
Well,
like
no.
go tailgate and drink beers and have fun.
Is this
Well, you
not?
could do that anyway, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Except you could just do it all day now. Like there doesn't really seem like, apologies, because I'm sure people worked very hard on this and are still working very hard on this.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like there's anything worth going to see, though. Like that's the volleyball match, sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, really, apart from that, I mean, I'm not,
You're
you can
not-
just stay out there and drink the whole time. Hopefully the weather's nice.
I think the spring games, as I think they're being referred to now, at least for the
Or
football
Husker
sector,
games or whatever.
Husker, yeah, whatever it is. At least I think the football sector is more entertaining, because when we were watching the actual spring game, we knew even last year that we were going to be pretty vanilla. We weren't going to go crazy. But like Matt Rule didn't want to, tip the hand, show the cards, whatever it might be. At least this way, like it's pretty
But it's
entertaining.
been
something-
reduced. I mean, it's been boiled down to effectively the student boneyard bash. I mean, that's what it
Sure.
is now.
No, I get
And
that.
that is nothing. Like the boneyard bash is you show up, they run the 3s and 4s out there. A couple of guys go out there and kick field goals, and you bring the students out and say, hey, you guys want to try to kick a field goal? And nobody can kick it except
Right.
me, the one guy who can.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. I mean,
I think the entertainment factor to what they're suggesting depends on the commitment. Like, how far are you going to go into making this a thing like the,
and they
the
have
Pro
to.
Bowl
They
games?
probably will go all
You
out for
you
it.
should. And I understand tickets are still like what, $10?
And Nebraska's uniquely positioned too that they can actually use volleyball as the draw.
Yeah.
Right? Like when Alabama can probably use basketball, so maybe they're not the best example. But if you're Ohio State and you want to, and maybe Ohio State's good enough now and fresh off a national championship that people will just show up anyway. But if you want to do like something like this for Ohio State and you're showing nothing for your football program, what are you going to use to get people to show up? Now, maybe nobody showed up anyway, but still, like Nebraska has something to get people out there that's different from football that has that same level of attention.
Yeah, Nebraska is unique in that way where there's nothing to do here, right? So we'll find any excuse to celebrate sports here. That's what we do. We celebrate sports of all kinds. Now, Grant, you had asked, did you even like the spring game?
Yeah.
And so I think the bigger point is the spring game they had before for 60 whatever years, whatever, we'll just say 60 years.
Sure.
Didn't love it, but this new thing, it's like until I see it, I'm probably not going to love it. So I think either way, it's just like I don't love either thing. It's just an excuse to go out and kind of pretend for one weekend that football is back. That's it. That's all it is. I'm not.
I like it.
Even with spring games, I don't take anything out of those.
Well, no, absolutely not.
You know, like, and then you add on ACLs that happen. It's like, well, not only am I not getting shit out of this, you're having players get injured for the whole year. So either way, don't love either one, but it's football, baby. That's all.
That's the only draw to it. Like I said, it's an excuse for me to go to Lincoln,
Yeah.
do some half-ass tailgate, go down there, go into the
Drink
stadium,
some
watch.
Nebraska Brewing Company beer.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
Yeah, of course. Just get down there, maybe go to the bars, have some fun. The one thing that draws me to this thing is I'm excited about the little garage sale thing they're going to do, like the equipment sale.
That is cool.
Like, I think that is cool. I don't know if they can continue to do it every year. It sounds like they're just trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff, which, Adidas is giving them a bunch of crap for free. So
Old
it's like,
jock straps.
why not? Right.
Jeez.
But-
I want Broderick Thomas's jock strap.
I don't
That's what
think
I want.
I don't think they have that anymore.
I think they do.
Are you
You
referring
think
to
they
the? Are you referring to the Adidas yard sale?
Yes.
You know this has happened before, right? Like, this is not the first time Nebraska's done this.
I think it's going to
had
be on a
this
different
discussion.
scale, maybe a different scale. I don't know.
If it's on a larger scale, I haven't heard that, but somebody tweeted at me and was talking about, or tweeted at NBNR actually, and said, "Tell Conspiracy Connor about the yard sale." And I had to tell him, it's like, the yard sale happens almost every year. Like, there's always old merch that gets sold off. This happens.
Question for all of y'all, and I'm putting you on the spot. I'm not giving you any freaking preparation for this. You go to this yard sale. Is there a specific type of memorabilia from either like a game or a player?
How far back do we get to go?
You can go back to fucking Guy Ingles for all I care. You know who
Okay.
that is? You should. You should. Is there something that you would want from a specific game or a specific player? I already said Broderick Thomas's jockstrap. I'm dying on that hill.
So again, I want to get into. You guys know this is like unused stuff, right? It's not stuff that was worn in a game or anything like that. Yeah, that's why they're selling it off.
Voice of reason strikes again.
But I only want Broderick Thomas's jockstrap if it's been used. Okay, so I guess that's how.
Connor's just here to rain on the parade.
Yeah,
constantly.
What do you think? Is there anything that like
if there was one item like dream, and I know like
and it has to be from a player. Like don't
what?
use your
No, I want to see what he said.
Yeah,
because you know he's gonna say some dumb shit.
No,
here we go.
Somebody's gonna call me a loser or whatever.
Oh, no.
I want the ball that Westy caught behind his back. Yeah.
Versus God, what shitty team did they play that day? Fuck. Northern Illinois? No. I don't know. That was a neat catch.
I don't remember who it was either.
Grant, what item from Husker history do you want?
Jordan Westerkamp as well.
The Hail Mary.
The Hail Mary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's the most. Well, actually, if they have the ball from, God, it was Taylor Martinez who caught the ball. Michigan State 2013.
Oh, Jamal
Turner, right? Turner.
Yeah. Jamal Turner. Yeah.
There we go. There's my non Jordan Westerkamp. If you have something from that game,
fair enough.
Okay. Is there anything, Mike? What do you think?
Make it
Make
it somewhat reasonable, like within the last. Well, let's call it last 20 years.
Last 20 years does not
Last
fit.
20
It doesn't. You're making me change the one that was in my
it's
head.
gotta be.
Oh,
I
come
know.
on.
So,
Let him
yeah.
go. Let him go. Let him.
Hey,
why you put parameters on this
Mike,
shit?
Mike, give me your overall and then your last 20 years.
Let him cook.
Okay. I was gonna say the ball that Eric Crouch caught for a touchdown.
Oklahoma.
Which
Yes.
one? Oh,
Yes.
Beautiful.
I think that would be kind of a cool ball to have. Because he wasn't wearing gloves, so couldn't get his gloves or anything. But I think the ball would be pretty cool. The last 20 years, it's been a lot of L's.
It's been a lot of L's
and
shit.
More L's. Wow, a lot of L's. We'll just keep it simple. We'll say.
Okay, you think?
Let me think.
Here's what I'll say. Since, like you said, Mike, the past 20 years of Nebraska football, largely shit, not good, but we have had special individuals. We've had special individuals come through though. So if it's possible for me to get my hands on like a Sam Foltz punter shoe, I'll take one of those.
That would be sweet. That's a good answer.
Used.
All right.
Specifically used.
I got one. You said you want Broderick Thomas's jockstrap.
Indeed.
I'll take our boy Sam Hans.
Dude, hey, we're gonna see him in a couple of weeks. You can just ask him for
it. Those are funky.
Guess what? And that's why I did this, because I'm gonna go to my shameless plug of the Dylan Utter Foundation. They have a bowling event coming up. Let me pull up the flyer really quick. He just sent it to me before this episode.
How many is this? His fifth or sixth?
It's enough.
Yeah.
But we are going to see our boy Dad Honey, so I figured I'd give him a shout out. And do another shout out to another former Husker, Dylan Utter. The Dina and Dylan's Play It Forward Scholarship Foundation is at Mockingbird Lanes again on Saturday, March 22nd. It is a bowling event. If you want to participate, you can pay $250, have 5 people come out and bowl. I think that you do win something if you win the whole thing. Otherwise, you do get food, drinks. Your shoes are included in a free t-shirt. And then, all the money goes to a scholarship for some high schoolers, I think from Millard South and Papillion.
Can we talk about too? And this is like, I do a lot of charity events. I love doing them. Dutter's Foundation has some of the greatest raffle prizes I have ever seen. Every year we've gone. I think this will be what?
They are good.
This will be year 3 or year 4 of us going, maybe. I think it's year 3. But every year there's a Scotty Cameron putter just for a raffle. It is a great cause, great prizes, and an amazing time. You get to see, if you haven't met them, you get to see and like meet a lot of great Husker players that have been through the program. Do it. You'll see us. If you don't want to talk to us, I get it.
But
yeah, sign up, dude. It's a great time.
Yes.
And there's an after party.
Damn it.
Did you know that?
Yes,
Oh,
there
hold
is.
on,
No,
hold
no,
on,
no,
hold on.
No.
Talk about
Go
it.
ahead.
Talk about
finish.
it.
Go
Go.
finish.
There is after the tournament. If you register and play in the Dylan Utter Bowling Tournament, there's an after party at Nebraska Brewing Company.
You can still go to the after party and not
You can.
attend the bowling
You
event.
can, but you should do both.
You should do both.
You should do both. Support the cause. Don't just come to drink beer. Support the cause and drink beer. Now I want to hear this.
Cheers to that.
There it is.
That's what it
Gun.
is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Slight jump of the gun.
Yes.
Also, Gabe
Oh.
Swanson's bat from the Big Ten tourney would be
Okay.
also
Okay.
a non-football.
Here is
Memorabilia.
the funniest football one from the chat. Justin, who has been driving some conversations in today's episode. So shout out Justin. I know he's a big fan of Ravi and Damon's show. I see him in the chat a lot on there.
Give us super chats.
Yeah, Justin, come on, shoot super chats.
Come on,
but
bro.
anyways, he said, how about the onside kick that ended his career?
Ooh.
That
or-
would be pretty fun.
Or the what was his name? Gosh, year 2 of Scott. You at Ohio State. What was the kicker's name?
Caleb Lightbourne tried to
Lightbourne,
kick
dude.
that one.
Yeah. If we can get like there was a
Aw.
T. If we get the T from
Aw.
that game,
You
that also
burn
Come
it.
on. We try to be
because
nice.
now
to-
we're going the other way. We're going to like most painful and or awkward / hilarious moments now. I mean that's up there for me.
I have
the cotton fall on his ass. I'll take his cleats when he fell.
Yeah.
I have that
Or any of the knee braces that were on that line at the time.
Yes.
I have that
That's
Caleb,
crazy.
I have that Caleb Lightbourne miss kick gif on my phone.
That was so brutal.
It's really fun.
He was so bad.
But we try to be
Poor
nice
guy.
to Caleb on this because he was put in a shitty spot.
He was put in a bad
He
spot.
was.
He still
Really?
still couldn't kick a football. So
He kicked
Honestly,
it
though,
backwards. It's fine.
Of all the punters
It's fine.
Hey,
in the history of Nebraska football, that might have been the worst spot.
he
put
did
into.
not have a special teams coordinator out on the sideline during halftime practicing with the long snapper.
Jeez.
That-
Snap it right. What do you think he was saying anyway? What could Ed Foley have been saying to them?
yeah, so I don't
Snap it! Snap it!
I don't know if you saw my picture, but we were at the Purdue game, and this was at halftime and you could see Ed Foley on the sideline, both long snappers, and Ed Foley just screaming at them on the sideline. Wrong!
Not in the locker room.
No.
Sitting on the sideline.
They were on the sideline already while the rest of the team's in the locker room. There's 2 snappers and Ed Foley out on the field. Like he's screaming at them. I take a picture of it, put it on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Thing blew up.
You're gonna get me fired!
reassigned.
Hey, quick question about the spring games. Are they doing a former player thing?
Alumni flag football or something?
Yeah.
All right, if that's the case,
Okay, so that could be a draw.
here's what I want then. Bring back Richie Incognito. The man has been vindicated. Retire the number. I don't care. Whatever. Name the locker room after him. Sorry, Frank Solich. Bring Richie Incognito back.
I'm sure
That's what I need. I need him to do an alumni thing with linemen. I need to
Richie,
see
yeah.
him somewhere. He hasn't been back. Richie. We need you,
sure-
buddy.
The Richie Incognito commemorative training table.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've heard the
many a
stories.
fight has taken place in this training table. That's why we're naming it after him, because a few punches have been thrown here.
Richie Incognito 2 days before the flag football game hosts a team meeting at the strip
Hell
club.
yeah, baby!
Hey,
Let's go.
Team captain Richie Incognito.
yeah,
Fucking A.
There it is.
there's probably a strip club left. In
There it is. All right, to wrap up our
Anything
show.
else? What you got, Mike?
To wrap up our show,
What you got?
it'll be a quick one,
Oh,
and
shit.
mainly because we have Grant here. Thoughts on Nebraska baseball? I know it's early. We've done this every year where we're like, don't overreact. It's early.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Grant. What are your thoughts on the start of Nebraska baseball?
It's disturbing in a lot of ways. I mean, it's tough. Losing your ace it's just gonna be tough to come back from. You like how Walsh and Brockett pitched this last weekend. Both of those are positive. However, they suffer from Nebraska basketball syndrome in that they are incredibly inconsistent, at least to this point.
Yeah.
If they settle in, things will be different. Also, Walsh is fascinating because there are some teams that he just completely has in knots. And there are other teams that shell him.
Yeah.
Right. And you feel like you can figure out pretty early on which one it's going to be. So, you would have preferred to have one of those guys to start midweeks. Now you're turning around against Wichita State this week, which is obviously a fairly talented midweek opponent that you can certainly lose to.
Yes.
And you're starting Carson Yasa and TJ Coates. And Yasa has got a lot of really good stuff. I mean, that's a guy that they were keyed in on off rip when he came here 2 years ago. Last year, largely effectively just a red shirt, and was working on refining his control, which was his biggest problem. Is he's been very, very wild. He can throw incredibly hard, but
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, you're just living on the edge right now in a lot of ways. And the fact that the offense has not been good. Like, you would think that with the amount of experienced bats that they have brought back, that even if you had shortcomings with your pitching staff and your bullpen, which is largely the same core as last year, if not a little bit better talent-wise, and has produced worse, you would think that the offense can pick the pitching staff up to the point where it doesn't matter. That has not happened.
Not even a little bit.
That is alarming. And you're basically in a week-to-week sort of situation, right? Like, you're sub 500 right now. If you'd won the series against Washington, you would feel a lot differently, because that's not necessarily a great team.
It's not.
And now you head into this Wichita. Like, I don't know. It's just, again, you're in a week-to-week stage where it's like, well, if you somehow manage to beat Wichita State twice this week and you go into the series this weekend and you win that, then maybe you feel a little bit differently. But you could just as easily go 2-3 this week, and you're still in that, like, treading water. Like, well, maybe this is the week that they win the week in terms of have a winning record this week, and then things can start turning around, But right now, I mean, it's you have Oregon State left still as an option, but I would say hosting a regional is squarely off the table, and especially without McConaughey. So, it's tough break losing him, and you figure that with the way the offense has underperformed here to begin the year and the amount of frustration that you've had to begin the year, that things probably won't turn around, but maybe they will. I mean, it's a long year.
Yeah. The thing that really sucks about losing Mason, besides being the Friday guy, is what's been the biggest bugaboo of this team?
Midweek scaries.
Midweek scaries.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Now that you lost Mason, your starting rotation has been thinned out. Where before, if you had Mason, it's like, okay, we still have Brockett, who's been around, experienced. At least on a Tuesday, you could turn to him and he might make things stable. Now you're turning to Yasa and Coates, and it's like, I don't know.
Right, you'll piece both these games this week. They'll piece together with the pen.
Yeah, it's
so that's
pen
scary.
game. Yeah,
and that means you have to rely on your offense, right? You have to be able to win games 10-8.
Yes, I don't know if I tweeted it or whatever. I'm like, yes, losing Mason sucks ass, but your offense, which over this offseason has been touted because there's a lot of experience, you're going to have to go out there and score 10 runs, guys. You're going to have to do it. And when you lose a series in the Big Ten, there's no Big Ten baseball team that should take 2 out of 3 from Nebraska this year.
Oregon.
There should not be. Oregon is the lone exception. You're right. It's Oregon. And so now that they've already lost as many Big Ten series this year than they did all last year. You cannot do this. You can't do this. The Big Ten's already a weak conference. You're going to have to win these series, man.
Like, people were bitching about the bullpen all year last year, and I thought that was ridiculous for the most part. Like, there are definitely games that the bullpen lost for this team, but more often than not, there's too many strikeouts, and there are offensive issues that you could also point to as a contributing factor in the loss. This year, there are definitely times where the bullpen is kind of pissed games away.
It's bad.
So
the other thing, too, is
that can change, but
it could, but they're bad.
Yeah.
But it's got to change quickly, right? Like, you can't.
You have to go.
This month has to be a successful month for this team, and also just the way that Washington doubleheader went just did not inspire a lot of confidence. You're allowing a lot of hard hit doubles.
Yes.
LSU, there were 7 doubles, if I remember correctly, and then Washington State racked up plenty of extra base hits, and also you get a lead right? That was game 2. They got a lead late against Washington State, give it back immediately.
Blew it against LSU.
Blew it.
So there's
Yeah,
there's
LSU,
some mental aspects to this. It's unfortunate. We'll see. I mean, they got enough talent to make a turnaround, but history says it won't happen. So
Figure it out. Connor,
I
quick-
have
and
yeah.
I want you to do 2 things. I want you
makes
to
the
give
spring
your
less entertaining.
quick thoughts on baseball, quick, and then we do have somebody in the chat that is begging for Nebraska wrestling praise. So I want you to quickly say your 2 cents about baseball.
Yeah.
Shift to wrestling very quickly, and then we're gonna wrap this show up.
So for baseball, I wear 2 hats. I have my GBRBI brain.
Yeah.
Which
baby.
is
That's
pure skurs. And that side of my brain right now is telling me a lot of season. We still got time.
Early.
Then there's the rational side of my brain that is just screaming.
Wait.
Fuck.
You have a rational side of your brain?
Yeah, I do.
And it's going, fuck. That's something. The
yeah.
rational side of your brain should not be going,
So
fuck.
yeah, the rational side of your brain is just like screaming expletives.
Yeah.
What does
It
that
should
say? What is
It should be going, oh my, this
Yeah.
might be
The-
concerning. Oh, I don't
Regarding
like this.
Nebraska baseball specifically, the rational side of my brain is terrified. I am not calling the season dead. I've had a few people text me about that, especially after the McConaughey, injury.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, season's over. And I was like,
Jump off the building. Yeah.
and I told them,
The,
and I said,
the Kermit jump.
what I said was not necessarily. It might be, but it's not there yet. And I think
They got the firepower.
everyone needs to just hang on. It is okay to be scared right now. It's okay to be worried.
It's okay to be scared.
Yeah, it's okay to be worried about what the season's going to look like. That's totally understandable.
They're 5-8.
Dude, is this baseball team giving off some dead cat vibes for you?
Not quite yet.
Wow.
Not quite yet.
Wow. Wow.
They concern me.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
But I don't think we're quite to a dead cat.
All right, wrestling. What do you got
Wrestling.
for these dudes in onesies that are
Nebraska wrestling is looking fantastic. I don't have you guys.
we have 2 Big Ten champions.
Yeah,
indeed?
Nebraska wrestling is looking fantastic. I hope to 2 Big Ten champions.
Yep.
Not good enough for me. I want natties. I want some national champions up there.
Okay.
Nebraska wrestling has done great all season. There were times I think at one point we dropped all the way down to like 19. But we've seen good performance. This team has battled back really well. I think the coaching's great. I think the wrestlers they have exceeded my expectations for what I watched going into the season. So I'm very excited. I'd love to see some national champions.
And shout out to Iowa having 0 Big Ten champions. We had 2, Ridge Lovett and Brock Hardy. So shout out to them for bringing home some hardware for Nebraska men's athletics, because Nebraska men's athletics are dead.
Trash!
They're dead. They're dead. Don't talk to me. They're dead. All right, go on.
Connor.
I just talked positively.
Connor, you want natties, yeah?
Yeah.
I think Penn State might be the only team. No, hold on. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I would.
Penn State might be the only program that gives more money to wrestling than to football, because those motherfuckers got that shit on lock. That shit is done, and it's gonna be
Their football
done.
team's pretty good though.
I can also tell you
Who?
that
Penn State's football team.
State.
They did make the college football playoff. They're pretty good.
But I'm just saying,
I would.
they give a
also-
lot to wrestling too.
Have you heard of the Oklahoma State or the University of Oklahoma State?
I have.
Yeah, they spend
Pickens.
a lot of
Go
money.
Pokes.
They spend a lot of money on wrestling.
They steal
they are
Kyle
fantastic.
from us, Oklahoma
Well,
State. They've got
So
endless pocketbooks.
this is actually and
Pickens.
if there's wrestling fans in the chat right now, they're going to agree with me. Outside of the Big Ten, the only university I give a shit about in wrestling is Oklahoma State. It's the only one.
I can't believe you give a shit about any other.
You have a second team in wrestling too, just like you do in basketball.
Well, no.
Oh,
Who's your second
Are they all
basketball?
white wrestlers too? Here we go. You open the door. Actually,
I was a Duke fan before I went to the University of Nebraska. I was a Duke fan when I was 9 years
you
old.
open the door.
Normally, I prefer back to our
There it is.
motherfucker.
All right.
It's all love, baby.
Driving
all
into a ditch.
We're at the point of the
Get
show.
on the plane.
Grant, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you're
Sure.
working on, where they can find you, all those good things. Any
Yeah.
Not
Any
your
last remarks?
address, though.
Well,
Unless
it's
you
all,
want
it's
to.
all Supernovas all the time right now. So there's that. About halfway through the year, it's a lot of fun. I mean, traveling with the team is a blast. PVF has some teams in some cool places, i.e. San Diego. Love that trip.
That's a sweet
That was a
trip for you.
blast. That was a blast. So the team's incredible. If you haven't come out and watch, next home match is the 22nd against Indy. That'll be a fun match. Then just Supernovas Radio Network, man. That's where we're at, and a bunch of different stations, throughout Nebraska, and then here locally on AM 660. And normally, it's funny, that station is actually a biblical, like James, or not James Ramsey. Who is it?
Yeah, the
Ramsey.
the economic the guy.
Yeah. Why can't I remember it? Dave. Thank you.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Thank you, me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So anyway, but it's a huge signal. Like during the day, like it's as far south as like Kansas City. You can pick it up. So
Damn.
that's
A
sweet.
lot of people are hearing you.
Hopefully. So yeah, I work with Renee Saunders, who's the head coach at Scott. She's my analyst. She is fantastic. And so really, really enjoying that. Team's 10-4 right now. I should know that. They're 10-4. Half game back of first place. So like where that's at. Work for Walnut Media here in Omaha. And yeah, I don't know. That's about it, kind of about what I'm doing right now.
Where can people find you?
On
Social
Twitter
media.
at
Yeah.
Hansen, not Hanson. Get it?
Hansen.
So
It's a
Hansen, not Hanson. Because there's enough people that for whatever reason want to go to ON. So I'm just like, let me just clear it up. Let me just throw it right there in the Twitter handle. Nobody ever has to have, because they apparently can't read my name also on Twitter, which is spelled
Welcome to
correctly.
Come on, Hanson.
Which is spelled correctly. So anyway, do not
Hansen.
spell my name with an ON, please.
Not like the fucking band.
Do you know
Not
how,
Mbop. Oh shit, you're too young for that.
you know
I
how
am too young for
often
that actually.
my display name
Tough.
on Twitter is Kickflip Connor, and it spells my first name correctly, and so many people still tweet at me with the R.
It's wild.
It's spelled right in front of you. You read my tweet and you responded to me, and then you spelled the name that was up there wrong. It's crazy.
Connor.
People choose not to read. I mean, it's just is what it is.
Idiots.
Grant, do you
the internet.
play volleyball? Have you ever played
No.
volleyball in your life? So
No,
how is it
I'm
doing
from a
it?
volleyball family. It's different. Like, it's so tough. Kind of. I mean, doing it on the radio is hard because you have to get you don't have to get every contact, but it moves very quickly. It's like
Yes.
doing hockey on the radio, which I've never done. And Matt, who's one of your previous guests on the show, probably has done on the radio. He could probably speak to that. I can't. Volleyball is tough because it moves quick. So you just have to be able to process what you're seeing and then take what you're seeing in your head, figure out what it is that you saw, and then put it back out again through your mouth, through the radio.
Is it part of it where you're expecting things to happen and you're just kind of trying to put your head in front of it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's some anticipation. I mean, as soon as you can tell where the ball's going if you've watched enough, and we sit right there. So that's part of it. And probably this player's probably going to hit cross more often than they'll hit down the line and all that stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And the athleticism that you actually get to see in the sport. It's funny too. People will go to the matches and kind of be surprised when an Allie Batenhorst isn't playing as much or a Lindsey Krause isn't playing as much. And they're great players, but there are 8 teams in the PVF. And so all the, large percentage of the top talent, and there's other, professional leagues as well, but a large percentage of the top talent is consolidated into 8 teams, right? So it's like your fantasy league.
Yeah.
If you actually put your fantasy football team out on the field, they would be loaded, and my backup, I'm trying to remember who my backup quarterback this year was.
Geno
I don't
Smith.
remember. It mattered. Your backup quarterback is really good at football and would just
Sam
absolutely
Darnold.
rip up a college game.
Right.
But if you're combining it in a
Yes.
10-team league, he's sitting on the bench, right? So there's incredibly, I guess, long point, the point being, there are a lot of really, really talented players for this PVF team that did not play for Nebraska or play in this state that it's worth going to see. Brooke Nunneveller is ridiculous.
She's insane. And the volleyball, around the world, they
Mhm.
a lot of these girls have been playing professionally for a long period of time They haven't been in college. They're not fresh out of playing at Nebraska this year. So like,
and by the way, there's plenty of Nebraska players that do play on this team consistently,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And like Allie has had great moments this year.
she has.
And Lindsay has too. Just picked up. She just had her first ace as a pro last week. So it's not like those players aren't playing at all either. It's just I think sometimes fans are surprised when they go out and they see players that they're not familiar with from Nebraska having extreme impact on the sport. Like the setter for this team is Natalia Valentin Anderson. She went to FIU, played at FIU. She has 16 years. She's played professionally for 16 years.
Yep.
And she's incredibly talented, like one of the best defensive setters you'll probably ever see. And I'm sure there's not a lot of Nebraska people that knew who she was until she started playing for the Supernovas. She's lived here for the last 7 years, but she's worth the price of admission.
Yeah,
Just to see
she's
some of the
fun
plays
to
that she
watch.
makes.
She's excellent to watch. It's crazy too. I mean, like, yeah, you talk about like Nebraska volleyball fans wearing that Nebraska volleyball cap.
We see them everywhere, by the way.
Yeah, they're wearing that cap when they go watch Supernovas, and they're like, well, why isn't Krause playing? I mean, Krause was sitting right in the bench this year at Nebraska. So, like,
so every match we've been to this year, we've seen Nebraska fans.
oh yeah,
Every single one. Vegas, San Diego, all of them.
that's crazy.
Do we show up to anything?
Pretty much.
It's not even a Nebraska event.
We
We're
show up
there.
to a pinstripe bowl.
Fucking A.
Well, we do. Yankee Stadium, $3,000 a head.
Jeez. Okay. Anything else?
I don't
You're
think
just
so.
I'm
itching.
set.
You're itching to talk about anything.
Nope, I'm good.
Grant, you good?
This is good. Yeah, this has been fun.
Nothing to vent about, like Mike over there.
No, man.
No
Oh, actually,
marriage
yes.
shit?
Yeah, I do have one thing.
Okay.
I do have one thing. I hate the "We Are Cursed" talk. I despise the Nebraska "We Are Cursed" talk.
But where?
With a burning passion.
Which sport?
Anywhere that it appears. I
cursed.
cannot stand it. Like, I'm just like, no, it's just, that's sports.
You don't believe after the 1994 Orange Bowl, when Byron Bennett misses the game-winning fucking kick, that Tom Osborne didn't go to his office and perform a satanic ritual. You don't believe that?
Well, no, I mean, the guy's been working against weed and gambling in the state for years. He's not doing a satanic ritual to win football championships.
A lot of people might say that Tom Osborne sacrificed his soul
I don't think
for
so.
the fucking good of the rest of the athletics program.
I don't think so. The way
don't
he
know.
just sold that, I'm telling you, I
So-
kind of believed it until he just said that. And I'm like, you know what? He makes a good
critical
point.
thinking.
So
yeah. It bothers me, man. I
Yeah.
can't stand wallowing in your own misery.
I love it.
After games. I
love it.
I can't stand it. Like, it's just, nope, you lost. It sucks. Get over it. Move on to the next game and cheer for your team again. And sometimes you lose in excruciating ways. That's
Yeah.
how sports work. And it's not like it's my right to deprive you of that if you want to wallow. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm just going to move on and get over it. Which is really how
I drown in it.
I tolerate curse talk, but I only use it when it's convenient for me. If we win, that's because we're great. If we lose, oh no, higher powers had
It's-
something to do with it. It couldn't possibly be, a lack of talent or a better opponent.
Yeah, if we
Like,
lose,
it's always a higher power.
if we lose,
people conveniently forget the baseball team making the most improbable run in the Big Ten tournament's history last year.
That was cool.
We were on the sidelines for that.
Like,
Yeah.
that
That's
is
great.
That is not cursed. That is pretty much the opposite.
No,
Like, you
so-
have to get a little lucky.
That was because of talent. When we lose, though, it's a curse.
Right.
Yeah.
When we lose, it's either we're cursed or the refs.
Yes, exactly.
Nothing else.
I mean,
There's no way it could
the
just
refs
be
the refs
us.
is way more tolerable for me. I can deal with the refs.
yeah, we're with you because the curse talk it permeates
It's everywhere.
through it goes to the players. I think too. When the fans keep saying it,
Something in the water, baby.
You're not wrong about that either. Which
But-
is
yep,
also part
yep.
of the reason I don't like it, but
yeah, because it just perpetuates that weak mindset. Oh, we're not going to win this anyway because we're cursed. So,
We
Yeah.
almost always win, or whatever the fuck.
yeah,
it is.
almost always,
Almost-
always.
yeah.
win.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it. NBNR podcast. Same handle for all your social medias. Wherever you're at, it's the same handle to make it easy for you. Damn. I have to
NBNR podcast.
Good. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Con
Mike-
Cadillac.
Mike Delaware.
I'm Grant Hansen.
as always, beat Wichita State. That's the next thing. That's the next thing. And GBR. Beat whoever's in the Big Ten tournament. Oh,